Princess Seraphina smelled smoke before she heard the screams. The marble halls of her palace shook beneath her feet as flames devoured the banners of her ancestors. Soldiers rushed past her, shouting that the gates had fallen. Lucien, the usurper king, had breached their walls. Seraphina woke in a room she didn't recognize. Silk sheets, gold candlesticks, lattice windows overlooking a city smothered in smoke. The capital had fallen. So had her freedom. The day of the forced wedding arrived in a storm of whispers and defiance. Seraphina wore a white gown she hadn't chosen, her wrists adorned with gold cuffs instead of bracelets. Pretty restraints meant to look ceremonial. Lucien stood at the altar, black cape trail eyes fixed on her with a hunger deeper than victory. When she reached him, she refused to offer her hand. He took it anyway, slowly, possessively. You tremble, he whispered. With rage, with fear, he corrected softly. But rage looks better on you. The priest's voice droned. Seraphina's heartbeat thundered. When Lucien lifted her veil, he leaned close to close. This marriage binds more than kingdoms, he murmured. It binds fate. Your fate. To mine, she hissed. You can take my crown, but you will never take my loyalty. He kissed her cheek instead of her lips, cold, mocking, deliberate. Loyalty is earned, princess, Lucien said, and I always collect what belongs to me. The crowd erupted into forced applause. Seraphina felt the world closing around her. Lucien's grip tightened, and for the first time since the conquest, fear was not the only fire moving through her veins. A guard entered. His Majesty commands your presence. She almost clawed his face. Lucien is not my king. The guard swallowed. Princess, disobedience will not end well. She didn't care. She walked willingly, rage propelling her to the throne hall. Lucien waited, lounging on her father's throne like he'd been born there. Seraphina, he said, gaze traveling over her with slow calculation. Your crown has been reforged into chains you will wear beside me. I will never marry you. He rose. The room darkened beneath his shadow. You think marriage is a request? She held her ground. You slaughtered my family, spared you. For your convenience. For my ambition, he corrected. A kingdom divided is weak. A kingdom united under a king and a princess people worship? Unstoppable. You murdered my father. His voice softened dangerously. He murdered thousands with his greed. I simply ended his reign. His thumb brushed a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. You hate me now, Lucien said. Good. Hatred burns hotter than love, and often becomes it. She slapped his hand away. He smiled again. Seraphina ran toward the throne room, desperate to find her father, but it was too late. Lucien stood over the fallen king, blade dripping gold-laced blood, crown glinting wickedly in the firelight. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in black armor carved like a serpent, he turned when she entered. Their eyes met, her fury against his cold, electric stare. The princess arrives at last, he murmured. Kneel. I would rather die. A cruel smile curved his lips. You will kneel, but not today. Two soldiers grabbed her arms, but Lucien lifted a hand. Touch her again and lose those hands. They froze. He stepped close, his gloved finger lifting her chin. Heat shot through her spine. You are useful alive, Seraphina, he whispered. You will wed your new king, and together, we will build an empire from the ashes of your pretty little crown. Seraphina spat at his boots. Lucien laughed. The war was over. The battle between them had just begun. Seraphina was escorted to the royal chambers that night. The room was vast, lit by dozens of candles that cast trembling shadows across the silk-draped bed. The new kingdom whispered like a nest of vipers. Nobles bowed to Lucien out of fear, not loyalty. Some watched Seraphina with pity. Others watched with envy or hatred. That night, Seraphina found Lucien alone in the war chamber, shirt torn, knuckles bloodied from dealing with the assassin. You were the target, he said. No, you were. You concerned for me? He smirked. Don't flatter yourself. If you die, this kingdom collapses. And you with it. She exhaled sharply. Lucien, why spare me? You could have killed me like the others. He stepped closer. Because the moment I looked at you on the battlefield, he said quietly, I realized destroying your kingdom wasn't enough. She swallowed. What does that mean? It means, Lucien whispered, brushing past her but letting his fingers trail her wrist. That some fires are worth conquering, others are worth keeping. Her skin burned where he touched her. Seraphina stared after him, breath uneven. She told herself it was anger, but deep down, something else flickered a crack. A weakness, a hunger. At dinner one night, Lucien leaned toward her. Smile. They already plot against us. Us, she whispered. There is no us. His jaw tightened. You wear my crown. They will strike at you to weaken me. Before she could respond, his gaze snapped to her goblet. Don't drink that. What? Lucien knocked it from her hand, the wine spilling like blood across the table. A servant froze. Too still, too guilty. Lucien seized him by the collar. Who sent you? The servant trembled, silent. Lucien dragged him away, voice cold enough to freeze the hall. Seraphina watched him interrogate the man in the courtyard. She should have felt satisfaction. Lucien deserved chaos. Instead, she felt something else. A chill, a warning, a truth she hadn't wanted to see. Lucien's enemies were now her own, and the only shield between her and a blade in the dark was the man she hated. Lucien entered minutes later, removing his armor with unhurried movements. Every piece he shed revealed more of the man beneath broad chest, battle-scarred shoulders, a strength that radiated domination. Seraphina stood stiff near the balcony. If you touch me, I swear. Lucien approached, but gently, surprising her. Seraphina, do you think I want a bride who cowers? I am not your bride. He brushed a strand of hair from her cheek, his fingertips grazing her skin. Her breath faltered traitorously. You are, he whispered, and you will be my equal, not my ornament, she scoffed. Equal? You stole my throne. I stole your crown. Your fire? Your fury? That's I admire. His hand lowered. Her pulse raced. He stepped back suddenly. I will not take what is not freely offered, Lucien said quietly. But understand this. You will offer it someday. Seraphina's cheeks burned anger, confusion, something far more dangerous. She turned away as he left the room, but her hands shook, and she hated that she didn't know why. A royal ball was held to solidify Lucien's rule. Seraphina wore a crimson gown, Lucien's choice, of course embroidered with firebirds rising from ashes. Seraphina woke to whispers outside her chamber. She followed them quietly to the courtyard. The conspirators acted at dawn. Explosions rocked the palace gates. Arrows rained from towers. Lucien's guards rushed to defend him, but the rebellion was larger than expected. Seraphina grabbed a fallen sword, barely managing its weight, and fought her way toward Lucien. She found him surrounded, blood on his armor, fury in his eyes. Seraphina, get back. Not without you. She swung wildly, but a rebel soldier lunged. Lucien intercepted the blow, taking a gash to the shoulder. She cried out, grabbing him as he staggered. Lucien, you're shaking, he said through clenched teeth. Because you're bleeding, he grabbed her chin. Because you care, shut up and fight, she snapped, voice cracking. He laughed breathlessly, then fought harder than she had ever seen. By nightfall, the rebellion was crushed. Lucien collapsed to his knees. Seraphina caught him, holding him against her chest. His hand lifted weakly to her cheek. I knew you'd come, he whispered. Her heart broke, not from hatred, from something far worse, and froze. A group of nobles conspired around a lantern, their voices sharp with treason. Lucien must die. The princess will rule in his place. She'll support us if she's smart. Seraphina's breath caught. They would use her as a puppet, a tool, a symbol, just like her father had. Suddenly, a hand covered her mouth from behind Lucien. He pulled her into the shadows, eyes blazing. Why are you here? She pointed toward the conspirators. He listened. His expression darkened. They plot to kill me, Lucien said, and use me to replace you. His gaze shifted to her. Would you? No, she snapped. I may hate you, but I will not be ruled by them. A slow, fierce smile curved his lips. Good. He pressed her against the wall, breath hot at her ear. Because the only throne you will ever sit on is beside mine. Her pulse jumped. She shoved him back, but the truth lingered. She had saved him, and he knew it. When she entered the hall, all eyes turned, even Lucien's. He approached, offering his hand. Dance with me. I would rather fall from the balcony, he smirked. You're welcome to try. I'll catch you, she glared but placed her hand in his. The dance began. His hand rested at her waist, firm, commanding. Their bodies moved in dangerous synchronization, sparks in every step, friction in every turn. You hate how your heart reacts to me, he murmured against her ear. Shut up. You tremble. With fury. With desire, he corrected. She stumbled. He caught her. The hall went silent. Lucien's hand cupped her jaw, forcing her eyes to meet his. I will win you, Seraphina, he said softly. Not with chains. With truth. What truth? That you were born for more than the life you lost. And you think you can give it to me? I think, he whispered, you could burn an empire with me. She pulled away before her heart betrayed her. Lucien lay injured in his chamber, breath shallow, skin pale. Lucien healed slowly, but Seraphina changed more quickly than she realized. She saw the way people feared him unnecessarily. She saw the reforms he began unexpectedly. And she saw the loneliness beneath his armor unmistakably. Months later, the kingdom healed under a rule no one expected: his strength, her compassion, their fire. One night, Seraphina stood before the mirror in her royal chambers, adjusting the golden crown Lucien had reforged for her, not from her father's tyranny, but from her own rising power. Lucien entered quietly, wrapping his arms around her waist. You look like a queen carved from flame, he murmured. I am, she said. The flame you lit, and the flame that could burn me, he teased. She turned in his arms. Lucien, I never wanted this life, but you chose it, he said. No, she corrected softly. I chose you. His breath caught. He knelt not as a conqueror, not as a king, but as a man who had finally found something worth surrendering to. Seraphina, he whispered, the crown of ashes led me to you. She lifted him to his feet with a smile. Then let us build something new. From the fire, they kissed, slow, fierce, unbreakable. Two enemies, one kingdom, one love forged in war and sealed in flame. She found him on the balcony at dusk, staring at the charred horizon. You rebuilt the orphanages, she said softly. They deserved better than your father gave them. You killed my father. Yes, Lucien said, and I will answer for that until the day I die. She stepped beside him. Then answer me this. Why did you choose marriage instead of execution? He exhaled slowly. Because when I saw you, he whispered, I realized taking your kingdom would mean nothing. If I didn't have you, her heart pounded. He touched her cheek gently this time, not claiming, not conquering, just touching. You are not my prisoner, Lucien said. You are the fire that terrifies me. And you, she whispered, are the man I should hate. But don't. His eyes widened. Seraphina, don't speak. She kissed him. A soft, trembling, devastating kiss that ignited the night around them. Seraphina refused to leave his side. What are you doing? He murmured. Keeping you alive. Why? She hesitated. Because I don't want you to die, she whispered. He smiled weakly. There it is. There what is? The truth you keep hiding, she glared, blinking tears. If you die, I'll kill you. His laugh was soft. Stay tonight, she froze. He didn't mean it like a command. He meant it like a plea. Seraphina sat beside him, taking his hand in hers. It felt wrong. It felt right. It felt inevitable. Lucien brushed her knuckles with his thumb. I conquered your kingdom, he whispered, but you conquered me. Seraphina's breath trembled. She leaned closer until her forehead touched his. She didn't kiss him. She couldn't. Not yet. But for the first time, she didn't pull away.